Scott from the Cruise Dude. We just did a great interview with Emily Maixner. She's an entertainer on board the Ruby Princess. It was so great on our podcast, I separated it and put it onto this YouTube channel just for you to listen to. Hope you enjoy. Hey guys, it's Cruise Dude Scott. We're here on the Ruby Princess with Emily. Emily, you're here, right?
I am indeed here.
Yes, it's a rockin' and rollin', but hey, you know what? It's a little bit of rockin' and rollin', but we're here in the, what part is this? Oh wait, no, the Crown Grill. So if you hear some background noise, it's because we are on the ship in a restaurant doing this, not live. Well, we're live, but we're recording it just for you. So, Emily, let's get right to it. You are an actress.
I am an actor. I'm an actor-singer.
Wow, and when did you start doing that?
You know, I didn't actually start till college. I was a band nerd growing up. I did a lot of flute and piccolo. I did all the all-state orchestras. I did pit orchestra, although I played most of pit orchestra staring up at the stage because I wanted to be on the stage and didn't have the guts to audition. So it wasn't until I got to college that I kind of was like, okay, it's time. You've wanted to do this your whole life. Let's do it. And so I actually auditioned for the musical my freshman year, and it was sort of like a musical in itself. I got cast in the lead, and then I got to start taking singing classes and acting classes and dance classes.
This is all in college?
This was all my freshman year of college.
Wow.
I had the band background, so I knew music.
Right.
Yeah, all the rest of it was a big new world for me.
So basically what you're telling me is what everybody would like to have happen to them is they were never an actress or an actor, and they decided to go out for a play, and they got the lead role, right?
Sort of. I should put a caveat on that. I did do some acting and, ran around singing when I was a kid, but it was never, I had maybe a little bit of formal training, but my parents didn't really have the money to support it, so it fell by the wayside. And I think anyone who knew me up until I was 12 would have been like, oh yeah, she's going to be on the stage. But we moved when I was 12, and I ended up in a different school system, and somehow I just went over to band. So everyone who knew me like 7th through 12th grade was like, you're majoring in flute in college, right? And I was like, what? No? Why do you think that? So yeah, it was there. It was just never really developed until college. So
Okay, so when did you, let's go from there to here now. We're on the cruise ship. Because there's a lot of in between. You did a lot of practicing. You did a lot of training. If you know actors and actresses, that's all we do. We train, and then get turned down. But how did you get onto this cruise ship as an entertainer? That's huge.
it is huge. I consider this actually my big break. Everybody kind of points back and is like, that was my big break, and this to me is my big break. I had been working and living in New York with my husband. We live in New York City, and I'd been working as an office manager for the first few years. Didn't do anything to do with auditioning or anything. And then through a cool series of events, kind of knew that something was going to change, so I started training again. And then the office closed, and I was sort of dumped back on my feet, and it was like, okay, you know why you're here. You've got to audition. So I auditioned off and on while paying the bills for about 2 years with very minimal, like you're saying, mostly rejection, mostly frustration, and like, why am I doing this? Am I sure? Is this what I really want to do?
Free theater.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure exposure really is that great of pay. But eventually I developed a friendship with some people at my church, one of whom was Gabe Barry, who's a Broadway director, and I wasn't conscientiously trying to work anything out of him or anything. He was just a good friend. I babysat their kids a lot.
Yeah, you weren't consciously doing this, right?
I'm sure it was unconscious.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
But no, he and his wife are good friends, and I love their kids. And anyway, eventually, after it became clear to them that I really was serious about auditioning for this, world, and that this was what I wanted to do. The confluence of events, Gabe landed this show that he was directing, and he got me in the room, and from there it was my job, of course, to do anything with that. But he got me in the room auditioning, and it was one of the few auditions Princess Cruises doesn't usually do New York, but they came out just to audition for the show, and that's how I got on the desk of the casting personnel at Princess, and I landed the contract.
Now, when did you start your contract? Is this like the second contract, first contract, third contract?
This is my first contract, and I've got 2 more weeks on it before I go home. We started let's see, the auditions were last March. They were literally on my birthday, and I was really sick, but I went anyway.
Yeah, there is a story about that, isn't there?
There is a story, yes. I got really sick, and the day the auditions came around, and I went anyway, and I felt awful, and then I managed to feel even worse the next day when I got called back, and it was dance callbacks, and I was sitting there in the rehearsal studios basically wanting to die. And my husband, who's a voice teacher, and he teaches out of the same studios, he happened to be on his break, and he came by, and he said, "Oh, how you doing?" And I was like, "Honey, I feel awful. I think I should just go home. I don't even know why I'm here." He was like, "No, I think you should stay. I think, you just see this one through." And I was kind of like, "Okay." And so I did. I saw it through, and then literally went home and just kind of dove into bed and didn't see the sun for another week or so. But a month later, I got an email saying, "You've booked the contract," and I was absolutely blown away. I had no idea, was not expecting it. It was a real thrill.
Now, have you ever been cruising before?
No, my family doesn't really take vacations ever, so not only had I never been cruising, I'd never even been near a cruise ship or on a cruise ship. Except where we live in New York, we overlook where the cruise ships take out of New York City. So we've watched them take off, and that was my closest exposure to a cruise ship.
Right.
Oh, I have something about cruise ships then. Staff quarters. How did you feel like the first couple of days you were on the ship if you've never taken a cruise before? Were you okay, or?
Well, I did some research prior to coming on the ship because I was like, oh my gosh, what if I said yes to? What am I committing to for 7 months? Because it's a 7-month contract. And I saw some video footage of some of the crew cabins, and wasn't really, I mean, it's not bad. It was just small, and I was like, I don't know. Well, when I got here, I found out I'm actually on more of an officer contract, so I actually have a single room with a couple of portholes, which sounds sort of like not a big deal. It's a huge deal. Oh my gosh, to have a single room with sunshine at all is, I'm deeply grateful for that, and it certainly made the contract livable. It's nice to have your own space.
Oh, it is. And with the contract, I mean, you get to go and travel all over the world. Where have you traveled so far?
This contract wasn't that exotic. We're based out of Seattle and then Los Angeles, so we did Alaska for the first 3 months of my contract, which was really fun. I'm from Colorado, so Alaska was very much like home. I just walked off the ship and went hiking most days. It was really nice. And then we moved down to LA, where we've been doing, we did a few California coastal cruises, the little sampler 4-day cruises, and then most of what we've been doing since then is 2-week Hawaii cruises and this 1-week Mexico cruise.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure. Okay, so you have all those cruises down, and you get to go to port. Mm-hmm. When do you rehearse?
Well, it depends what sort of things are going on. So the first half of my cruising contract can really be divided into 3 halves. There was the first half when we were basically in Alaska. Then there was the next 2 months where we were learning the new show that I got hired for, which is Magic to Do. And then there's everything since. So the first 3 months of the contract, we got on the ship, we rehearsed during the day. We didn't get off in port or anything because that's the primary time the theater is available. So, which was fine. We knew it. We were coming into that. It was a couple weeks before we really were able to get off the boat. But by that point, all of our shows were up and running. We'd learned everything we needed to, except for the occasional reblock for someone being ill. We didn't need to rehearse because the shows, you rehearse them well enough before you get here that when you do get here, you're just making sure you know the space, you know, the safety things of when a lift is going up or when the pyro is exploding in your face. And then after that, it's sort of, it's a job. You just show up, you do your job, you go home. It's very fun and comfortable. Then there was the period where we learned the new show, and that was one of the most intense rehearsal periods I've ever had in my life. We were working 14, 15-hour days sometimes, doing our regular show schedule. So doing two shows at night and putting all the makeup on and everything, and that's with a full day of rehearsal. That was really intense, and that we pretty much monopolized the theater. I know some passengers during that time were like, "What do you mean we don't get to watch movies in the theater?" And they were like, "Trust us, you just got to be okay with it because the show's going to be worth it." So
now, the show you're talking about is Magic to Do, correct?
Yes.
Now, before we get to Magic to Do, how many shows how many different shows are you doing on a cruise ship?
For this cruise ship, we have 4 full production shows, a couple of smaller shows that we know bits and pieces for, and then a handful of what we call piazza performances, which are little bumpers, like anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. So you've got 4 full shows that are between 30 and 50 minutes. Then you've got the 2 other shows, which are full shows, but you don't, you do maybe 10 to 15, 20 minutes of material in them.
So what are the names of those shows?
Those shows, let's see. The first one we do is Colors of the World, which is a fairly new show. They do it on, I think, the Royal or the Regal, one of those, and they brought it over here. We do Stardust, which is my husband's favorite. It's just jazz standards, and it's really beautiful, just very, crooner classics. I love it. Then we do Once Upon a Dream, which is only done here on the Ruby Princess. It's a really cool show, just very different, sort of Alice in Wonderland meets I don't know what. It's very, very fun and funky.
Yeah, it's a really nice one to see. I mean, it did remind me of Alice in Wonderland, but you're dreaming, and that was the nice little, the roundabout of it. It's you're dreaming. It's not Alice in Wonderland. This is just your dream. So
yeah,
that's a really nice show too.
That was a great one. And then Magic to Do is our 4th full production show, which is the new show that they did in combination with Stephen Schwartz. It's all material from his musicals on Broadway, Pippin, Wicked. We have a song from, what's it called?
Godspell.
Pocahontas, and, Godspell.
Pocahontas, yeah.
So we've got, it's sort of a review of his music, but it's got a story to it. It's got thematic material. So those are our 4 production shows.
Well, let's get right down to it. Magic to Do. When did that come out on the road? When did you start actually going into production with that?
Our premiere was November 6th, and we're the 2nd premiere cast. So they premiered it first on The Crown, and that was the cast that they developed it on in the studio. That was The Crown Princess, and they premiered in October. We started learning it in October, so I think it was October 1st or 2nd. The creative team got on. We started getting the magic illusions piecemeal, and we started learning it pretty much every minute of the day for the next month.
So right now it's only the Ruby and Crown that has it?
No, the Emerald just premiered it December, so just last month. So it's on 3 ships, and I think those are the only 3 ships that will get this show. There will be other Stephen Schwartz shows on other ships, but these are the 3 with Magic to Do.
All right, now we're going to go to Tommy because he wanted to come see this show. Tom, I know you're like biting at the bits here. Do you want to ask any questions about this?
Are you finished?
I am not finished, but you could just keep on going because if you let me, I'm going to keep on talking.
Shut up, Scott.
Okay, fine. I'm going to drink my 7-Up.
Drink your 7-Up. Thank you. Well, I'm
Are
really
you sure you want me to?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm really glad to be able to see this show because this is I've been following this production since the announcement, and I've been watching just what's been coming out from Princess and just some of the things online, and was really excited to hear and see the performance, and especially the magic part because I have an interest in magic, and I've read some of the books, some books by Jim Steinmeier, the illusion designer of the show, and so I was kind of wanted to see how he was going to incorporate his illusions into the show, and it was very seamless. It's a very seamless type of thing. It's not like typically when you see a magic show, it's not a magic show. People think it's going to be kind of like a magic show. But it's magic with music, but it's a combination of just a seamless story of life that can be magical.
Yeah, it's almost more of a musical that uses magic illusions to tell the story.
Exactly. And so, it's usually when you see a magic show, you see somebody, the magician gets up and goes, I have in my right hand this thing, and I have in my left hand this thing, and my lovely assistant's going to go and walk into this thing and do this for me. And there's none of that, and which is great because usually that drags the show along. It drives me nuts sometimes. But this is just like here. There's the magic is like all part of the show, and it's not. There's no setup, and there's no abracadabra or anything like that. It's just like the magic is part of the show, and it's part of the storytelling.
And it's all the actors and singers and
yeah,
dancers
and
who are doing the magic.
who are doing the magic too. It's like, you know, that was really cool too, because the actors and singers were performing the illusions and things like that. Now, did you have any training, or did you have some time into this?
How did you fly? We want to know.
I actually signed a non-disclosure agreement. I cannot tell you. I am legally obligated. But
No, we're not. We're not going to make her. We're not going to make her do it.
No. Well, I'm actually married to an erstwhile magician. He's a voice teacher now, but he used to be a magician. So I had some exposure because he's the kind of guy who talks. If he's passionate about something, I have to learn all about it. So
Right.
I'd been hearing about magic and, you know, how things are done and sort of the art of magic for
Right.
years. So when we started rehearsals for this and began learning some of the illusions, I gotta say, it was kind of terrifying, because having heard about it and watched it for so long, to actually be doing something like, you know, making rings magically link and unlink was actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that's a difficult illusion to do.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, there's a handful of them.
Yeah, because there's
You have tried, I know.
Yeah, I tried.
Just go around banging rings together, see
Banging
what
rings.
happens.
Just never.
Never
know.
happens.
Now, Magic to Do, it's
Wait,
a
she's not
magic
done.
show. Wait, I want to clarify something. It's a magic show, but it's a musical.
I would say,
Right.
yeah. I think, you know,
Yeah.
if you come looking for just a Vegas-style magic show, you might be
No.
a little disappointed. But if you come for a Broadway-style show that throws magic illusions in, you're going to be delighted. It's
Right.
really beautiful.
Exactly.
Oh, silence, and I was about ready to drink myself.
No.
You can't drink that.
No, you can't talk. You're done talking for the whole show.
Oh, no, do drink it.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So, how many of these songs how many did you sing? I mean, I watched you sing all of them.
sang. Okay, so we've got, what, like
Here,
11,
I'll
12? Yes.
I'm putting the brochure right in front of you.
Yes, the program is in front of me, because otherwise it would take a long time for me to remember what all I do. I sing in the opener, Magic to Do, which is from Pippin. I sing the very tail end of Corner of the Sky, just a really short reprise, which is also from Pippin. I sing, again, a little snippet of No Time at All, which is also from Pippin. We're very Pippin heavy at the start of the show. Then one of my big numbers is Day by Day from Godspell, which is almost more of a marriage ceremony. That's the one with the linking rings in our show. Then I do Popular from Wicked. Then the next song I do, it's every female singer's dream. I then do Defying Gravity, which is also from Wicked. And to get to do Defying Gravity and Popular, I mean, you never do that. Those are two very different characters in Wicked.
By the way, Defying Gravity is amazing.
We can't.
That is amazing.
Don't tell any secrets. We can't
No.
tell them what it was, because
It
they have
is
to
an
come here to
amazing
see it.
It's
scene that's my favorite scene.
When I read the script for the first time, I was like, we're doing that. Both the way they've treated it for the story,
Right.
how they've set it up, and as well as the magic illusion that accompanies it, I
Right.
think is pretty spectacular.
Yes, it is. That's what makes you excited about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then let's see, the next song I sing just some background singing in Colors of the Wind. And
Yeah, that's
then,
beautiful
Which
singing.
I think that's the other sort of showstopper is what they do in Colors of
the
the
little
Wind.
guys behind us, they were singing along with Colors in the
Were
Wind.
they?
Yes,
Oh my gosh,
yes.
that's so
Yeah.
awesome. I love
They
that.
were hanging onto my shoulder
Oh.
behind me. It was very cute. It was very cute. But yes,
Oh,
they were
that's my
singing
favorite.
along.
So, and then Stephen Schwartz actually wrote a new song for this show, which I do sing in, called A Little Magic, which is sort of the finale of the show, and then our encore is When You Believe from Prince of Egypt. So I sing about half the songs in the show, actually, when you stop and think about it. It's a lot of singing.
I am quite busy.
I mean, it is a busy show. It's very fun.
You guys are selling this out. I mean, it's free when you come on board. But I'll tell you, if you are going on to the Ruby or to the Emerald or to the Crown, anything like that, you need to be here at least a good 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Before.
The seats disappear quickly.
They
Yes.
disappear very fast. Very
We had a
fast.
full house last night.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. Okay,
Okay.
are we done talking about Magic to Do, Tom?
So Stephen Schwartz is
No, I
coming
guess we are
out
not.
with more shows.
He is, yeah.
And tell us a little. Can you tell us more about that?
I can tell you what I know, which isn't very much, because I'm not sure anybody really knows anything. It was a sort of open deal that they made with Steven to do 4 shows. I think a couple of those will be mostly his material, but I think from what I've heard, a couple of them, he'll simply be one of the creative personnel, one of the driving forces behind it.
Right.
So nobody really knows what those are going to look like or when they're coming out, but
Okay.
I'm sure Princess will
And
share
Right.
very soon.
Right, exactly. You've got to keep that under wraps. Everybody knows he's doing four more shows.
Three
Is that-
more.
Three more.
Three more
Because that
shows.
was announced yesterday,
Yep.
before the show, or was after the show. Can't really remember. It was just a very good show. But yeah, so he is going to be helping out Princess.
Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
really great.
It's a neat collaboration.
It is. It's something I no other ships have right now. I mean, they do not have a professional like that helping them out with these productions. All right, so let's switch gears here. I would like to know. Okay, we've done the acting thing. We've done all of this. Let's talk about you.
Oh, my
yeah.
favorite subject.
Yeah, there you go. Here we
I'm
go.
a blogger. I love
Yeah.
talking about myself.
All right. I always ask my wife this, and she says, there's PEO stands for something, and I said it one time, and she said, no, that's not it. You can never say that again. I'm not going to say it right now because it'll be publicized everywhere.
Thank you.
But see, exactly. See, I tell you, PEO. It's this. Well, you tell me. Tell everybody
All
what
right.
it is.
PEO it's a women's social organization that has a philanthropic sort of purpose. We raise money to give scholarship opportunities for women in higher education, both locally and globally. So we've raised some extraordinary, I think it's in the millions. I should know this number better, but we've raised a lot of money for scholarships over the years. It's just a women's organization. We get together, once a month, couple times a month, and it's both social and philanthropic. Generally, we say PEO stands for Philanthropic Educational Organization. That's an easy way for people to remember PEO.
Right.
Yes,
And my
also-
mother was part of that, and so was my grandmother.
So were mine.
Yes. And also with the PEO, you send kids to college too, right?
We
Out of
do.
school,
Actually,
right?
I
It's
was
not-
a PEO scholarship award winner,
Did you
grateful recipient when I was
Did you
in
go to
college.
Cotty?
I did not go to Cotty College. Cotty College being the PEO college. It's a 2-year institution.
Oh, now they have some 4 years. Better
Oh,
watch out.
see,
Yes,
they're
there you
changing
go.
things. They're growing as we speak.
Yes.
Right.
See, I have a little girl, like I said, 12 going on 21. She's already going to be in there. I mean, it's what, second, third, fourth generation? Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
It's a really special group. I came into it, as I said, my mother and my 2 grandmothers were/are all PEOs. But that's not actually how I came into the organization. A friend of mine in New York accidentally forwarded an email with the word PEO in it because she was looking for a babysitter for a friend of hers. And I said, wait, how do you know PEO? She goes, how do you know PEO? And she began inviting me to the PEO meetings, and I just fell in love with the group of women in our New York City Chapter C. And the beautiful thing about PEOs is it's a really special type of woman. You can always tell a PEO woman, she's very elegant and very kind towards others, and it's really inspiring to have a group like that in my life. I'm so grateful for it in New York.
And I hear that you did even some just some meetups on cruises.
Yeah.
Tell us something about that.
Well, before I left, a fellow PEO sister had gone on a cruise and said, oh, we had a get-together. It turns out there were like 10 of us PEOs on this cruise ship, and somebody put it in the schedule, and so we all met up, and we met each other, and I went, well, now that's good to know. I'm going on a cruise ship. Maybe I'll put those in the schedule and see if there are PEOs on my ship. So, except when we've been really busy with rehearsals and things, I've tried to always do a PEO get-together, which is, just a little social meeting to meet other
Right.
PEOs from around the country and around the world.
Right. That's great. So what's your favorite thing about cruising so far? Now that you've been on a cruise ship since what, November, right?
No, I got on the cruise ship June.
June.
It was
That's
June
right.
28th I
That's
got on
right.
this ship. It's a toss-up for me between getting to perform, which is truly a treat to perform in a 900-seat auditorium. That's a Broadway house. I haven't had an opportunity like that before.
And you're getting paid.
And I get paid. But the other is getting to see so many cool places I've never been to Hawaii. I'd never been to Alaska. And I'd, never been to Mexico before either. And so to have gotten to really feel like I learned about those places and explored them, that was a real treat.
Do you share this information about your travel and performing experience on your blog?
I do, yes. I have a blog. It's www.ginghamandsteele.com. If you can spell Gingham, I'm very impressed. It's GINGHAMANDSTEEL. Did I say two E's or three?
I don't know. I was trying to write it
E's.
down. Can you say that one more time
Yes.
for me so I can write it down?
Gingham and Steele. GINGHAMANDSTEEL.com. So that's my very longly worded blog.
Well, that was slow enough for me. I wrote it down, so I'm good. I'm good to go.
And yeah,
So
I've been
what do you-
writing about my experiences, as a first-time cruiser, as a on a performance level of this opportunity, kind of exploring all the different, the good days and the bad. Like when I can't sleep at 3 a.m., I've written blog posts about, here's what I'm thinking about right now. Wish I could go to sleep. It's very unvarnished.
Well, you know what? We'll put that information on our website, so
Great.
then you might be getting some more people.
All right.
Hopefully they're PEOs.
I'll take anyone.
And don't blame us for the stalkers.
What? Oh, you do have a humor side. Okay, that's nice.
There it
Humorous
is.
side. There it is. He's smiling. Okay.
You sure he's smiling, or is he just squinting from all the sunlight?
It might be squinting from the sun. Okay, so the last question I have is, do you have a next contract coming up, or are you taking some time off?
I am taking some time off. I've got a couple of commitments back home, so that meant I couldn't commit right away to another contract. I'm doing actually the P.E.O. State Convention for New York. I'm doing a concert for them in the summer, so I'm looking forward to that. And I do audiobooks back home. I've got a couple audiobooks lined up. But I would love to come back on cruising. I'd love to do even my own show. I've been working on a few things. We'll see what happens, but trying to be a busy bee.
That means we interviewed a potential star.
That's
actually,
a strong
she
word.
is a star. She has all these shows on the Ruby Princess.
Did you say you want to start your own podcast? Is that what it is?
Yes.
No, I do not want to do my own podcast.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a tough life.
No, it's the consistency. Even
Yep.
blogging, I find it's difficult to maintain just the consistency because life happens. So I really respect people who can do something like a podcast that I think, especially with your sort of audience level, that requires very great consistency. It's
Yep.
really impressive.
All right, so I believe that's about it. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. Emily, we just thank you so much for coming on to the Cruise Dudes podcast, and we wish you the best, and we hope that everyone comes to see Magic to Do and the other shows
On
here
Ruby.
on the Ruby Princess.
Tell me when. Well, hey, I hope you enjoyed that great interview with Emily Maixner. If you want to join us again, come on to our podcast at www.thecruisedude.com. Until next time, everyone, keep on cruising. Have a good one.